Aye, and I mean it's still really in its infancy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's still got a long way to go, like and it'll only get bigger and better. So fantastic.
Because like it's kind of gone are the days. Well, not gone are the days, but I mean, like it's harder for the regular sort of father that bring their kids to the football match.
Yeah, it is, and it's also. I mean, it's something that's one of the things I know it's been talked about a lot of Celtic is that it's getting. You're getting stages now where you're going to games and the stadium's half empty or half full, however your glass is, and you probably know individually know hundreds of people in that stadium. You can't sit beside them.
Yeah.
Even though the stadium, and so, there might be kind of suggestions about perhaps starting to sell season tickets for sections rather than actually individual seats, so then you reward the people who go in early for a good seat. You can go and sit beside your mates, if you guys are coming over and say, right, we'll see you there, just like you used to do in the old days with the terracing and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And anything progressive, I mean, clearly, we keep hearing about this so-called state aid, and there's Glasgow City Council have knocked back safe standing, they knocked back a fan park, and they also knocked back Ronnie Dyler turning on the Christmas lights at Celtic Park.
What?
Aye.
Explain that. I missed that.
Before the Dundee game, and the reason was now this. So this is the plan, right? At 1:30, Ronnie Dyler was going to Celtic Way, press a button like Blackpool Illuminations or whatever, and bang, and the lights would go on. And Glasgow City and the council knocked it back for this reason. In brackets, we think that will attract a crowd.
That's the fucking point. It's a Christmas lights.
Yeah, it's a football stadium that holds 60,000 people. We're trying to attract a fucking crowd. You know what I mean? And it's just, and yet people will have all these head cases. I'll tell you that we're getting nothing but favours for Glasgow City Council. If it wasn't for Glasgow City Council, we'd have a fan park behind the Celtic end right now that people could go to all year round. In the summer with the good weather, whatever. In the winter, they would have had the heaters, all that kind of thing. Brilliant. I mean, imagine that before the Inter Milan game. Fucking fantastic. No, I can't do it. And then the safe standing, after everything goes with that, the final thing they say is we need more information for the Bundesliga clubs. So in other words, Glasgow City Council are saying, did Bayern Munich really know what they're doing with this? Yeah. And Borussia Dortmund, it's fucking laughable, you know what I mean?
Basically, we can't make our own mind up because we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Aye, because we basically what Glasgow Council are saying is we've got to stop everything that you try today to bring people to your club. Simple as that. And, so Celtic can be progressive and get ways round it. And I think that might be one of the ways to say, right, you have a season ticket for a section, because that's what, a lot of German clubs do and things like that as well. And, it would be good because then you could, if you needed to meet somebody or whatever, instead of having to stand outside, blah, 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 I'll just see you in the game, you know what I mean? And talk to your mates and whatever. I mean, it's just anything and everything to get people back to going to games,
Someone told me there a way back that when you buy a ticket for like Borussia Dortmund, that includes your day's travel around, like on trains and buses and stuff.
Well, certainly Bayern Munich, they're on the trains right from the city centre to the stadium, because obviously it's on the outskirts, and it's free. Everything's free. So, and I mean, it's not like, we'll run a train every half hour. They just have trains running the whole time, filling them up, 12, 15, 20 carriage trains, fill them up with fans, get them out there. You know what I mean? And that's, I mean, I know Celtic have done a lot of stuff for the walkway to Dalmarnock Station and places like that. Celtic have also got a mini train coming from Dalmarnock Station to Celtic Park that lets people who, perhaps have physical disabilities or perhaps because of their age can't really walk that far and so on. So they are constantly doing things that are trying to attract people to the football club. And, they are getting obstacles put in front of them by Glasgow City Council and places like that, because one would argue that perhaps that's because there's another club in Glasgow who are teetering on the fucking edge.
Yeah. It's an odd one, isn't it? Like, it's basically like, well, you can't be seen to do that much better.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing as well. It's like, well, you know what? Fucking karma. I mean, we have a phone call. I guess, Alistair. Alistair's not there. Sorry, mate. No answer there. Anyway, the one thing we haven't really talked about is actual football tonight.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Can we go back to Zagreb for a bit? I didn't see the game, but I've seen the highlights. It looked like a decent game, I thought. I mean, I seen the result and I was like, I seen the scores coming on my phone. It looked a bit like a, a bit less of a, how can I say this? It looked worse on the scoreline than it did when I watched the actual football.
Yeah, I mean, my take, Joe, is, I mean, to me, it had a failure pre-season friendly, but there was a kind of recklessness about it that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the fact that it was meaningless. It was absolutely meaningless, a game. And as someone in fucking my age now, it's just my interest starts to wane in these kind of games, and I'm not surprised the players do. Defensively we could have been better and stuff like that. I mean, I actually inquired about. I was quite shocked at the strength of the Celtic team. I thought they might have really went, for a lot more younger players and West Country players. And the answer back was, well, we needed the coefficient points. To which I said, well, obviously you never told the defence that. I mean, it was one of the games where it was like, all right, fine. I mean, the job's done. The job was done, and never happy to get beat, but never give it a minute's thought since, But
Zagreb were they played well. I mean, their fourth goal was an absolute peach.
Mm.
That wasn't. Which one was it? Was it fourth? Was it? Yeah, it was the fourth.
I think.
Yeah, Neyman's hat trick.
They're a decent side, you know what I mean? And they'll be fucking gutted that they're not going through, but especially when they've seen that draw today. But at the end of the day, it was positive to see people like Henderson and all that coming round and Skepovic getting another game and stuff like that. But, I don't think we'll be crying ourselves to sleep anytime soon over it, will we?
That's true. I mean, you kind of sort of... It sounds, defeatist to say you can kind of discard a game like that there. You know what I mean? But
you can.
You can. But it's kind of counter-competitive, which you kind of don't want to admit sometimes because you always want to win every game. But it was kind of them ones. I didn't mind missing it, put it that way. Right?
Nah. I mean, it's exactly. I mean, it's... and I know I was talking to a couple of seasoned European travellers on Sunday, and I said, Burnley and Zagreb, it's like, just not going to pay £500 to go and watch a game that's, it really is meaningless. And so, I can understand that with money being tight and near Christmas and all that kind of thing. So I think that was the attitude for a lot of folk, but I'm sure the boys that went had a great time,
Yeah, and the video I loved was the last Christmas video. Did you see that?
Oh, aye.
I just thought that was the most obscure, bizarre thing that could happen. But I mean, it was hilarious. It made me laugh so much.
Well, that's Celtic fans to a T. You know what I mean? It's got a bit of an echo there. So,
are you?
Aye, it's got just a wee bit. Aye. There's been numerous European games. I can think back to Paris where they sing Roll With It and Country House when it was Blood on Oasis were going for the number one spot and all that kind of thing. Man, I Feel Like a Woman, in Bordeaux. 5,000 hairy-ass Celtic fans doing it, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, you know what I mean?
What else are you going to do after losing 4-3? You're going to sing,
you're going
to sing some Wham!
I know. I mean, I can remember back, I think it was 91 at Tynecastle, and we sang American Pie the whole way through the second half. Then everybody gave the big cheer, and the next song that came on was Hello, Mary Lou. And so, of course, the next line in the first verse says, Hello, Mary Lou, Goodbye Heart. So everyone just changed it to Goodbye Hearts and give it that as well. You know what I mean? That's what football's all about. As a society now, I actually did a bit in college today, Joe, about how, the theorists will say now that we didn't have what they used to call the water cooler moments where, you go to your work on the Tuesday and say, did you watch that in the telly last night? And it's primarily because we say it right away on social media.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? It's like last night, I was in doing a bit of work, on college work, and the only two subjects on social media were the BBC Sports Personality of the Year and X Factor. You know what I mean? And we just live in a completely different world now. Everybody comments on that stuff as it goes on. So by the time Monday comes, nobody cares less,
Yeah, but does anything bore you more when somebody brings up something that everybody else is talking about? I mean, I get people talking to me about X Factor all the time at work. You see the X Factor? I go, listen. I've banned X Factor in my house. It's always been banned. My kids are not allowed to watch it. Right? We don't watch Dancing with the Stars. We don't watch fucking X Factor or Britain's Got Talent. All that bollocks. We don't watch any of that in my house. My kids are banned from watching it. And it's the best thing I've ever done in my life.
God, I mean, it's... I actually to get a tiny bit personal, I done a presentation about 2 months ago about how music has changed because obviously I'm the oldest person in my college, and I was kind of saying that, when people, what your generation doesn't realise is that when people wanted to be musicians and pop stars back in the day, the first thing they done was bought a musical instrument and then learnt the musical instrument.
Yeah. Or else, like, if you could sing, you got together with people who could play instruments and you sang with them. And if it worked, it worked. If it didn't work, it didn't work. Now it's like, well, you know what? There's a panel of people and they're going to tell you whether you have talent or not. They go, why didn't you just fuck off?
Yeah, I mean, it's just staggering. And you get like, one of the things I'd done, I was put up the Beatles record sales, which I believe, if I remember rightly, was ended up being sold 264 million albums in 7 years. And a lot of that was due to the fact that they went to Hamburg for 3 years and gigged almost every night.
Yeah.
They done the slog, they learnt the instruments, they learnt the music, and they got good at it, and then they became famous. David Bowie was writing songs and albums for 10 years before he became famous with Hunky Dory, you know what I mean?
I think the Beatles became more famous and better when they stopped playing live as well. Yeah. They just like, we're not into it anymore, we're just going to make albums. They're going, fair enough, and they are still the best albums you'll ever hear. That's
right, because songs like Strawberry Fields and that were never written to be sung live.
No.
And so, that is exactly, and to be able to, I know it's a tangent, but to basically have 7-8 years of being famous and look at the evolution of the music and the people themselves, the back catalogue is just incredible.
Yeah, I hear. Tell you, we go off on some wild tangents on this show.
We've got to. I was actually hoping Jason would be on the night because I don't know if you caught this, but Motherwell got a manager called Ian Barraclough, and I was positive he would come on and make a Mr. Barraclough joke for porridge.
So 1 week it's Rising Damp.
I know, we love our 70s sitcoms, you know what I mean?
Pretty soon we'll move into the 90s.
So he'll be forever known as Mr. Barraclough.
So next week is Dempsey and Makepeace night.
Oh God, aye. Oh, Glennis Barber, by the way. She Dempsey Makepeace every night.
She was definitely. She was in my head for a good year.
When you were relaxing alone with your thoughts,
that's, just the whole music, So Europa League draw into Milan,
yes.
Like over here on the radio, every single sports announcement mentions Celtic into Milan and a replay of the 1967 final. Like, not really a fucking replay, it's daft. But so I mean, I kind of wanted a British team. I wanted an Everton or Liverpool or somebody like that. There, we're not going to get that. Into Milan, some people are like, I've already been to Milan. What do you think?
Well, I mean, to me, it's big time. It's box office. It's it gives us 3 months of ramping up size 67 again. You know what I mean? So we can always do that. I was with you. I wanted Everton or Tottenham, although I think Jason's head would have exploded if we got Everton, to be honest.
You wouldn't have one of them jerseys down the middle. Everton
aye. But no, I'm absolutely delighted with it. I mean, this is what football was all about. You know what I mean? Inter Milan at Celtic Park and in a European type 2-legged affair. I mean, fucking bring it on. I cannot wait. You know what I mean? It's just these are the moments that you follow football for, to get these kind of things, and to be playing for Inter Milan and very competitive and all that kind of thing. It's like, I couldn't care less if people have been to Milan before or whatever. It's like, the bottom line is you've got to be in it to win it, and I also think they've got a wee chance, Joe, because I mean they're no any great shakes.
They're 12th in the league, are they?
Yeah, I mean the talk is that Mancini wants to fucking sign Mario Balotelli back. So I mean,
go ahead.
That shows you how struggling they are.
Mario Balotelli. I have a good friend who's a massive Liverpool fan, and they're just going like, "What's happening?" And he's like, £16 million. I said, you bought him. I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, I could have told you he was a lazy bastard.
I know, it's like, you sell your best player for 75 million quid and then you replace him with 5 or 6 players. It's like, maybe that wouldn't work given that Tottenham tried exactly the same and failed. Yeah. Just go out and sign 2 or 3 world-class players if you can get them. But I was listening to something on the radio about that yesterday where they were saying they tried to get Di Maria and Falcao and they just Man United blew them out the water with the wages. But no, I mean, certainly Inter Milan, I mean, their own BT Sport the Now and stuff, and they are no great shakes, but I mean, they are a huge name, and obviously, we'll get all the thing. And I mean, it was good to see. I mean, even just seeing Inter Milan tweet Celtic and say looking forward to coming to Celtic Park and all that, you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about, you know what I mean? That is just kind of like, this is the big stage that you put yourself on. They're currently one now up at Chievo, by the way, and